These are my thumbs, and they dance. Boop 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 boop. Hey.
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, you know. See, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops to the Creeper, you know. He's got to be in on it, you know.
Right.
Scooby-Doo, where are you? Oh, boy. Scooby-Dooby-Doo with epic rims.
Cheers.
I will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right. Titties for bitties. Thank you. Look at that clip.
Billy. Oh my God. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB. Hold on. I'll be in my bunk. Welcome in, Raiders. There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I don't know what Dick and Milk is. Oh. Nuts and Milk. Dick a game A. I gotta know. Oh my God, they're little penises! Oh my God!
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in-house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along? And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim, so I was like, "Yeah, you know." I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, you know, and sold, he called me.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
Okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now, but now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
Into a different
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
Hello, Movember. Thank you for all the donations.
Hi, Movember.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
November.
Oh, shit.
Welcome on in. I appreciate you.
Welcome in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our
Oh
team.
shit, we have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves
That's
to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans. Huh.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnlyFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't
of
have
the prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't.
Abby,
Shenanigans aren't
speak for
suing everyone.
yourself.
Yeah.
Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
Guys, our
so-
team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000.
Wow.
There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
We're
this.
doing this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
You ready?
No!
You ready?
No? How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping. I need my calculator for that. What the? Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. ! Discord for the link.
I just won't bang them, so it's, you know.
Right. These are my thumbs, and they dance. Boop, 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 boop. Hey!
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, you know. See, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops the Creeper, you know. He's got to be in on it, you know.
Right?
Scooby-Doo, where are you? Oh, boy. Scooby-Dooby-Doo with epic rims.
Cheers!
I will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right?
will.
Titties for
I
bitties.
will.
Thank you. Look at that clip.
Yeah.
Billy.
Oh my god. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB, hold on. I'll be in my bunk. Welcome in, Raiders! There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I don't know what Dick and Milk is. Oh! Nuts and Milk. Dick a Game A. I gotta know. Oh my god, they're little penises! Oh my god!
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in-house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl of their own, but it was, they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, hey, why don't you come along? And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim. So I was like, yeah, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called me.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
Okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now, but now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
Into a different
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
It's time to start the podcast. It's time to play some games. It's time to have some fun here on the Epic Show tonight.
We'll see some off the pod here, enjoy some great alerts. We'll have a grand old time here watching Epic Realms tonight. We love it when we come here, we clip all of the screens. The chat gets kind of trolly on Epic Realms it seems. But that's an awesome part of the Epic family. So let's enjoy the show now and start another hype train. We'll see the spicy chips fly on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, epicational. This is what we call the Epic Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on in, friends and enemies, to the one and only Epic Realms Off the Pod. The Off the Pod. Yeah. We are joined by the one, the only RalanaHalo. I don't know what I'm doing there. It's not a podcast sort of podcast. It's kind of a podcast sort of podcast. It's been a while since I've done the intro, so you all just have to forgive me for that. You guys all know Rolana every Wednesday, pretty much every Wednesday, right? It's almost every other than Old School 3, and if we do like a weird, one shot here and there, it's for half of our RPGs, you're there, and so yeah, we had to have you on eventually. It was not gonna happen.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me.
So we have all kinds of topics, everybody, and like I said, it's been a hot minute since we've done this show. I think the last one was before Christmas with Steven the Shark, so I think that was the last one. It's been a hot minute. So welcome to the new year. Or did we do one? Did we do one already this year? I don't think we did. We were supposed to, but it got canceled.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because I was sick, and then before that I was sick, and then before that I was sick. So we've got all kinds of plans today, including going from player to game master, making that transition. Was there even an intro at all for the Octavius is Off the Pod?
Does he really need one?
Does he need one? Yeah. Going from player to game master. Our other topic is, hold on here, it won't let me push the buttons. It won't let me push the buttons.
Oh no.
Call of Cthulhu RPG. We're going to talk about Call of Cthulhu. We're going to talk about the Call of Cthulhu RPG. We're going to talk about our games of Call of Cthulhu. Which is actually kind of, we'll get into that a little bit, I think, on the start when we talk about going from role-playing to game mastering. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of crossover on these two subjects. So
probably.
So not a big deal. Then, of course, we're going to take our break after that, Call of Cthulhu RPG, and we're going to come back. And guys, start thinking about all of the movies that are horrible that you really like, because we're going to talk bad movies that we like, and we both have a list. And It'll be fun to see what kind of horrible movies that we like, that we all like, between you guys, between us, and then we're gonna jump into potluck, where anything can happen. So that's kind of the plan for the day. Of course, this is a fully interactive. You guys, all the alerts are turned on. You guys can join the conversations. If you have thoughts on whatever we're talking about, throw your thoughts in there. We'll try to keep an eye on the chat and keep you guys in the loop. I do want to say that. We are on the last bag. We are on the last bag of the ghost pepper chips. After this bag is gone, hype trains will no longer be spice trains. So that is official. Once this bag is gone, there will be no more spice trains. Spice trains will be done, and there's multiple reasons for that. Got that going, which is nice. There's multiple reasons for that, and I'm making this announcement. This is official that we are not going to be doing it. One, they don't exist anymore. Like, if you can find these chips, congratulations. But like, you go to the Packy website and all they have is a form to fill out for refunds.
Oh wow.
If you go to Packy.com, that's all there is. I've done some digging. I've talked to some people on the Reddit forums, and apparently if you do an email to them, you get a response from Hershey's, not from Packy. So Hershey's is completely cutting it out. They've got a standard blanket, like oh yeah, we are sorry that we can't get these out to you, blah, 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 blah. Keep an eye for further product information. And that's what Hershey's is sending out right now. So it sounds like they're just done. And yeah, so no more haunted ghost pepper chips, and we will find something else to do for hype trains or for you guys, for subs or for something on this channel. But yeah, and on top of that, I don't know if I can physically continue to do that, and I don't know if you guys are as entertained as you were 2 years ago. Like, it is a gimmick that probably is lasted its entirety of its time. So yeah, let me go and move Tangia Dungeon off of my face here. I knew there was something. About this something that I missed today. Tangia Dungeon, configure on stream placement. We'll just shrink it down.
I don't know if you want to do chips again, but I did just buy like Pringles has a Hot Ones flavor.
I saw that. I don't think it's gluten-free.
Oh.
I think that is a major issue, is the gluten-freeness of the Hot Ones. But I watched the show where they did the Pringles Hot Ones with the Hot Ones.
Oh, okay.
So they do a wing and then they follow it. They chase it. It was the host and Gabriel Iglesias would do the two. So.
Okay. Yeah, I saw them at Target, so I just grabbed them.
Nice.
Because Monkey Swag likes spicy stuff.
I also like spicy stuff. I have been in discussions, and there may be a Hot Ones 10 wing challenge between myself and Hello Operator from TikTok. He and I might do a Hot Ones 10 wing challenge off the pod. Bop. Hello. Hello, kiddo. Afman's kiddo doesn't understand how Twitch works and keeps calling me out. Yes, we are not on the yes, it's not a Zoom call. It's not. He thinks it's Zoom. He's a little kid. He thinks it's Zoom. But welcome on in, everybody. Let's see who do we got in here. Not first is Sunstrider. Who's officially first? Who was officially first? Katie was officially first. Congratulations, Katie. Officially first. Unofficially first.
Turn it up, yeah. Turn it up, yeah. Turn it up, yeah. Turn it up, yeah.
Some would say it doesn't get old. Others say it's old. It gets old. It's been old. No. Technically, unofficially first is Sunstrider, who said hashtag not first. Unofficially. So hello everybody and welcome in Curly Girl, Monkey Swag, Bentley. Who else do I see in here? If I miss you, I am sorry. I'm just scrolling back. Of course, Afman and Afman Kiddo, Zine. Welcome on in, everybody. Again, we're gonna talk all kinds of stuff. If you don't know how the show works, we've got a timer on the bottom. That timer will count down. We'll talk about that subject amongst ourselves with you guys until that timer runs out, and then we will go from there. And I see they're positioning for a hype train, so I'm just kind of tangentially just kind of hanging out here just in case they try to throw me under the bus.
There once was a cat with a hungry belly. The name of the cat was Whiskers Jelly. His throat was dry and his bowl was bare. Meow, me fairy cats meow. Soon may the kittyman come with birds and mice and some tasty nuts.
I'm not even on the screen. I'm not even.
Nope.
It's just you.
Just me with my cat ears.
With your cat ears. For the kitty man song. Very apropos.
Yeah.
It just means I can have some water here. I can make faces. I can scratch my face. I can pick my nose. No, but you.
Nope.
Come with birds and mice and some tasty nums. One day when the critters come, we'll eat till our bellies are full. While the gang was bored.
That might have been on purpose.
One of the seeds grew green catnip. They snipped and they stacked.
I'm surprised it's so big. It's like it looks like it's cut off on my screen.
Yeah, a little bit.
Soon may
I'm like, it's going for a while too.
It's a very long song. It's a very long song. I don't know if it counts for the hype train.
Oh, it does.
Nope, just Penn Hall just came in and extra large was a bit much. It was a bit much. Now we've got multiple songs.
Oh boy.
If we finish these chips tonight,
Not to
the
worry.
spice train has
I have a
started.
permit.
It is the bottom of the bag. It is the
This
end.
just says I can do what I want.
This may possibly be the last spice train. This is all we got left, guys. Crumbs. The last spice train in Epic Realms history.
I don't even know if we still have our old bag. Or if Monkey Swag threw them away. Oh no.
Here's the thing. I had that first chip knowing we were going to get hit on. I'm like, we're at 98. Someone's going to do something to hit that first one. So I'm just going to do the chip now and get it over with.
So Monkey Swag says we have a leftover old bag, so if we donate it to you.
Or you can join me. You can just join me. You can just join me and have them.
I could.
Bad feeling about this.
Got a very bad feeling about this.
I could, but am I going to?
Yes, you are. Peer pressure. Peer pressure. Whew. Bottom of the bag and stale and really bad. Whew. Doesn't have to be the last spice train. You could always bring it back with the spicy jelly. I could, but that's not. Again, there were multiple reasons for it. It's not just that they are no longer making this. But I promise you guys that the change will be something that benefits everyone.
Oh, there's a lot in here.
Oh, look at that. So when I run out RalanaHalo, we'll just finish off. We'll do the rest of it since I run out.
I'll
For
eat
the night.
one.
You'll eat one just for the memes.
Yeah, for the memes. Oh my gosh. This bag is so nasty.
Now, this doesn't mean that the spicy chips will go away for the role playing redeems, I'm sure. You know, it just may just have to be that people will have to get other kinds of
I have a
spicy
permit.
things.
This just says I can do what I want.
I can do what I want. That's what it says.
That was real nasty.
Yeah. Are they stale? They're worse when they're stale.
They're like a little bit chewy.
And when they're stale, they have no flavor, so it's just heat for the sake of heat.
Yeah, basically.
Monkey
Ooh.
Swag, I have a permit, which I can. So yeah, I'm guessing that the role-playing will still have like a spicy Asmodeus healing redeems for some of them when the games get back to whatever they end up turning out to be.
Yeah, the normal.
Right. So when the Stolen Conquest and when the Stolen Conquest
You just made the
may
list.
split up, and maybe it won't. Who knows? Maybe it'll just be the Stolen Conquest for the rest of existence. Who knows?
It might be.
Just
we can just procrastinate fighting Karzug, and then we win by attrition.
That's right. That's true. That's true. I think it's really based on the Stolen Souls. If the Stolen Souls decides to stick around, then they will stay together. But they might just decide not to. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Bentley gifting a tier 1 sub to Booms. Thank you so much for that. We are at 73% of the level 2 hype train. Of the possibly last spice train in history.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
R.I.P. the spice train. R.I.P. the spice train. I will probably move lyrics spice train song to the sound alerts tab so you can still play it. Speaking of which, I will probably move the Stream Raiders songs over there as well so that you guys can still play those. Since Stream Raiders is going bye-bye forever as of March, there will be no more Stream Raiders if you missed out on that announcement.
Good, you couldn't like superimpose like I don't know, like a Creed song in the background. for like RIP Stream Raiders and RIP Spicy Chips.
Right. The toll of the bell.
Yeah.
Seven-Tail Fox gifted a tier 1 sub to Spice Train, RIP Spice Train. And Bentley gifted a tier 1 sub to the Mocha Noise. We love the Mocha Noise. Mocha is always in here lurking. I see him all the time.
I'm just gonna end up eating these chewy, nasty chips, and then I won't be able to talk about anything.
It's okay. Welcome to my world on this show. Don't rub your eyes. If anybody knows the contact information to Sean Evans, let me know. I'd love to have him on the podcast. All kinds of questions I have. Woo! You could always keep the Spice Train, but change it to the Star Wars definition of spice. Oh, man.
Star Wars or Critical Role?
What is the Critical Role spice? Is that a drug too?
No.
Pet that dog?
No.
Pet that dog?
No, he's sleeping.
Pet that dog?
Pet that dog? Oh, pet that dog. Yeah, I don't know what's worse. The Star Wars spice or the Critical Role spice.
Well, the Critical Role spice, it was kind of Sam Riegel trolling. And then Matt Mercer had to make it a thing.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Kind of.
Every level of the Spice Train, you eat a spoonful of cinnamon, I'll pass. Or Dune Spice. All the spices. Speaking of bad movies.
You could, well, I
bad
probably
movies that
maybe should.
people like.
Dune?
It's got Sting in it. Does that count for anything? The original one, not the new one. Ooh, that was a little... little...
We're going to have to get into that because I love the original ones, but I don't really like the new ones.
Here we go. A little preview on the bad movies we love.
Yeah. That was like one of my favorite things to get from the library as a kid was the Dune series.
Oh, man. Oh, thank you, Packy. It's been a wild ride this last year, couple of years. Oh. Complain, guys. Complain to Hershey's that the ghost pepper chips are gone. Now, here's the thing. If they put them back into production, maybe we'll bring it back down the road. And then maybe it'll be special again. That was always my concern. Like, is it still special? Like yes, today, like possibly the last one ever. But like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Was it special anymore, or was it let's just see Nick suffer a little bit, just a little bit? Hello, Billy. Welcome on in.
Yeah, I don't know. I always enjoy it, but I did you ever listen to Avenue Q or watch the musical?
A long time ago, but yes, I did.
There's that song about I'm going to say it wrong, the German word for the joy at other people's pain.
I don't remember. I just remember that it was a really naughty show.
Yeah, it is. But there's a song. It's about them singing about like when you're laughing at somebody falling on their ass. Stuff and like Schadenfreude or something. Yeah. Seven-Tail Fox posted it.
Thank you. 47 seconds left. We'll see if we can clear the tier 3.
But I'm like, that is a real thing.
Schadenfreude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. What a way to start it. What a way to start it. With a lovebird. Well, did we hit it? Did we hit that mark? Level 3 complete.
Level 3 complete.
Just like last week.
Thanks, Rockheim.
As soon as I saw that name pop up, that there was going to be... Thank you, Rockheim. Much appreciated. There's a new month and a new day of pain. For spicy chips. Exclamation mark. Join the dungeon. And we are maxed already. Oh my god. These are so dark they look burnt.
Monkey swag. The next time you're playing Enoch, I'm gonna make you suffer by eating these.
How does that make him suffer if you're eating them?
Well, I'm gonna force him to eat them.
Oh, okay. Me too. Me too. I've got infinite channel points. Mwahaha. Just kidding. I wouldn't abuse that. I very rarely use my alternate account to affect the RPGs. I do them once in a while, just for shits and giggles, but not very often. And usually when I do, it's like the Stolen Souls is when I do it, because I'm like, I'm not playing, so I can.
I am very sad that the players could not do rumors in the last game.
This town needs an enema.
Woo! Oh no, not the shaky button.
I like that the dungeon is just covering.
Right? The dungeon don't give two shits about the alerts.
Nope.
Move it down just a little bit. I didn't want it covering the timer was my issue. There we go. Now it shouldn't cover the timer. Oh my gosh, my mouth.
Yeah, for me, it's just the aftertaste.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's after you're done with it and your mouth just melts. And burns, and you're like, and it's not even tasty either. Hello, Booms.
Oh no, especially when they're chewy.
Right?
Like a chip should not be chewy.
Luckily, I don't have the chewy. I just have the stale.
Oh, there's stale and chewy.
Ugh. 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 But thank you guys so much for participating in the hype train. You guys are awesome. Oh boy. Oh boy. Should we try and start the topic while the rest of the hype train is going, or should we just see how things go?
Are you gonna be okay?
I'm gonna be. We're doing our best. We're doing our best.
We're doing our best, guys.
Have you heard of the game Little Kitty Big City?
I don't think so.
So it was suggested to me by K. Sorrel, who is a friend of ours in real life. And so you're a cat in a city. It's kind of like the game Stray, but it's a lot more like silly. And you're running around doing like kind of a cozy game where you're a cat, but you can like actually walk around like, oh, Grandma's here. I'll just knock the glass off and try and run away before she can catch me.
No, I have seen that game.
Yeah. Turn it up. Yeah. Turn it up. Yeah.
No turn it ups. No turn it ups. I'll be playing it tomorrow, so I'm looking forward. I got it today to play tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Turn it up. Yeah. Turn
Too bad I have to work.
Yeah. Turn
you just have
it
to
up,
like
yeah.
sneak out and be like, what's it look like? But yeah, I figured with your love of cats, you might enjoy the game.
Yeah, I did that game advertised on TikTok, and we have
Bentley
Stray.
is amazing. Bentley, you're awesome. Bentley, you're amazing. I didn't mean to say Octavia. Sorry.
Monkey Swag's just trying to get it. We're at 88%.
Yeah,
He's like,
I know.
30 seconds left. What will get us there? What will get us there?
There's also a new cat RPG game that's coming out.
Go fuck himself.
Wow,
Thanks,
that was really rude. Considering that put us over the hill.
Yep. Oh, thank you, Bentley, for telling me to go F myself.
I thought we were friends, Bentley.
I thought we were friends.
I thought we were part of the Mean Girls trio.
The Mean Girls trio?
That's what we, that was our basis for the Movember game.
Ooh.
We based our characters off Mean Girls.
Oh, that's funny. I did not realize that.
It was kind of an inside thing.
Woo.
But my Dragonborn literally had a burn book. and had a magic pen that I could write shit about people, and then when they read the book, it would say something different.
Okay. I knew you had a book, but I didn't really know what it was. I didn't catch that, apparently. Oh my god. Oh.
Well, I had a lot of nuancy stuff with that character, but the game was so trolly and just getting through combat was an ordeal.
Yeah.
It never really came up.
We're starting this out with potluck. No, this isn't even potluck. This is just filling the the hype spice train time for the possible last spice train in the history of Epic Realms. That's why I was always grabbing my boobs and talking about it raining.
Yeah, because that's a part in the movie.
I did not know that. I did not catch any of the references. That's funny.
Yeah, I think Karen is the character's name. She's like, I have ESPN.
Oh
my
gosh.
boobs. She's
I
like,
didn't catch
my
any of
boobs
that.
can. Yeah, my boobs can tell when it's raining.
Wow. Oh. All right, that's four chips. Oh, should we get the show going? I don't know if we'll complete level 5. So, or should we wait? You're muted.
Yeah, I was muted because I'm coughing.
Oh.
How much is left in the bag? Whose bag?
Probably about, I'd say maybe three more bites, maybe, give or take, maybe 4. Epics, I know yours is probably.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm not doing this with the bag, just so you guys know. When it's just dust at the bottom, I'm already grasping at straws here. Oh. Rock, welcome in again. And thank you for those gifted subs earlier. Oh. Ooh.
Well, we got a minute.
We do. So, I don't know when Steven is going to be doing the Movember for all the people that donated this year, because he took 2nd place for most donations.
Okay.
So imagine, I'm curious the size of the game he's going to have to run for Movember, and how many people he's going to have to, or if he's going to have to split, if he's going to try splitting it up, or if he's going to try and run like 20 people on stream.
Yeah, he kept saying that like he ran like a huge room full of people before, but I feel like being on stream would be really hard to do a huge group.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I concur.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Sunstrider.
Let's be honest, whatever game it will be, it will just devolve into trolling him anyhow. I was pretty good. I tried.
I think I started out nice, and then
you jumped on the Steven train?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Woo,
thank you so much.
Survived.
Congratulations on completing a level 4 hype train. Possibly the last spice train of all time. We'll see how the rest of the evening goes, because I know you guys. Thank you guys so much. All the hearts and love. And stay tuned for what we will be replacing it with. For those of you who are my mods that are here in the chat, I do have a moderator chat about it in our secret moderator chat area. If you guys want to, if my moderators want to weigh in on their thoughts on the replacement of it.
Late per usual.
Steven, we were just talking about your Movember. How many people you're gonna try and run? How many people is Steven going to run for Movember? Oh, God. Oh, God.
Like,
Excuse me for a second.
he's probably counting.
He's counting the people. Let me count the ways. 1, 2, 30, 57, 695, 3,000.
Carry the 2.
Carry the 2, divide by the square root of, oh God, I'm drunk. Sometimes scroll started a Tangia dungeon exclamation mark join to join. The biggest game I ever had was 27 players. I got this. You gonna do it on stream? I'm very excited to see how that's gonna roll out with 27 people in chat.
He will get to harass a bunch of people about their buttholes.
Yes, indeed. Everybody that rolls in that one, Steven has to take a shot. With 27 people, that should be fun.
That could be a game for November. Like, I don't know if you ever watched the Magic School Bus.
Do a game of Drunken D&D? Classic Drunken D&D?
Well, no, or do a game where you go in the Magic School Bus back in the PBS days. There was like the game where like I think Arnold was sick, and then they went inside his body to learn about the digestive system.
Yep, I remember that. And they were going through his intestines.
Yeah.
Through the poop.
Yep.
I do remember that one. That's probably the only one I remember.
Oh, I love that show.
See, we should have talked about our TV shows growing up.
I guess, but I'm like, I grew up with 5 channels.
5 channels and nothing on. Hello, Roddy Mama. Oh, thank goodness Roddy Mama just got here. Phew.
Oh.
We lucked out. We lucked out. Welcome in, Roddy Mama. So, let's start our conversation, shall we? Going from player to game master. What did you miss? You missed the hype train. You missed possibly the last spice train of all time.
Turn it up, yeah.
We just ended it, so
yeah. Turn it up, yeah. Turn it up, yeah.
Thank you for the turn it up. That's Steven trying to do with hype train, but we just ended the hype train, so there's like an hour left, so or whatever the 30 minutes or an hour, however long the timer is. We just finished it. Like literally 3 minutes ago. Like I said, that was possibly the last spice train of all time. You know, we've got a whole night. For those that missed it, we are not doing after tonight. There will be no more spice trains because there's no more spice chips. And among other reasons. So probably about 56 minutes to go till the 2 cooldown is gone. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I can have it. Wait, you put a timer on the hype train? They come with a timer. You can't take the timer off. Hype trains always have had a timer. That's just the way they're designed. Hello, Redneck Jedi. Welcome in. Redneck Jedi, I almost bought a PC version of Red Dead Redemption today, but then I was like, I've got it on PlayStation. You didn't know that there was always a timer on there? Yeah, there's all of them have a timer. Roddy, you have a timer. I have a timer. Identity Crisis has a timer. Everyone has a timer. You can't do back to back. There's, I think it's an hour. I think we looked it up and it was 60 minutes. So, going from player to game master, guys, feel free to jump in on the conversation. Twitch sets it at an hour, if I remember. Yeah, I think we looked up an hour. When you are a player, you know, everybody's got their introduction to role-playing, and then they try to... Everybody has a reason that they become a game master. Sometimes it's by necessity, because they don't have a game master anymore. Sometimes they have an idea or a concept. Some people don't ever want a game master. Some people stress out about it. Some people do it right away. Some people start as a game master and then transition to player.
Yep.
I probably played twice before I wanted to run a game for GURPS, and I had no idea what I was doing. And then eventually we played D&D, and then eventually I ran my first game of D&D as well. But it was less of necessity and more of I want to tell these cool stories with these characters because I have ideas too.
Yeah.
Where was your transition? Was it Call of Cthulhu, or did you do game mastering, dabble in game mastering before? Because I don't remember. To me, I only remember Call of Cthulhu, but there's an era of my life where I don't remember shit.
I know. I kind of have that too, where you have kind of gaps. I like
there might have been a Mutants and Masterminds. I don't remember.
Yeah, there was a Mutants and Masterminds. I don't know. This is kind of aging me a little bit, but I would honestly attribute both my start in role playing and a little bit with game mastering with doing, and this is very niche, and we kind of briefly talked about it, but doing the play by post RPGing, which for those that have never heard of that, it's where you're on like a forum and you're basically writing a story with someone. And so there can be a lot of times where it's just very like improvised, like free flowing, or sometimes you're doing things that are really structured when you're writing characters. And so like for me, I did a lot of like Star Wars fandom, and this started when I was like 13 or so. And so there was one that I did was like Star Wars fandom, and we were doing it with like Luke Skywalker and the New Jedi Order. And so we would assign different roles, and like Luke Skywalker was one of like the people that like I GM'd NPC'd the push of plot forward. So it was kind of a combination of both player and kind of game mastering too, where you're both, depending on how big the group was, because sometimes it was just like 2 people, or sometimes it was like 10 people, or you'd have people like orchestrating the game too. Oh, another dungeon. So that's probably where like I kind of dabbled into like collaborative storytelling, a little bit of direction on that piece. I didn't actually, in part as regards to tabletop, actually the first game I ever GM'd is 3.5. I did a one shot in, I think you were in that game, in the Others game.
Oh yeah.
That where you, Zine, and the blind GM were like all 3 rotating.
Right, I remember that.
Yep. And we did like a birthday party game, and that one, me and another player both were kind of co-GMing that, but I felt like it was more on me, and that went mostly well. At one point in the game, I kind of got overwhelmed because something happened that I wasn't anticipating, so then I asked Bear to like take over.
Yeah.
So that I think was like my very first like actual game that I ran.
Like a pen and paper tabletop.
Yeah. And then after that, like I ran a couple sessions of Mutants and Masterminds. And so what I've kind of always tried to do, I kind of do more one-shotty stuff, and kind of like I've been role-playing for like a long time. I think I actually started role-playing when I was like 16, 17. And actually my brother introduced it to me when I was younger. It's like 7. And when he first introduced role-playing, like I didn't like it when I was 7 years old.
Right.
Like I tried it and it was too restrictive for me, because I don't know. I guess honestly, if we want to go real back, like I was very into Barbies. Okay. And there's a meme on TikTok where they're like, what everybody imagines like little girls playing with Barbies are is like, oh, we're going to go to the store, we're going to go shopping at the mall, and let's do this. In reality, it's like, you've been brought here before the king because of your crimes, and now we are going to execute you and your entire family. Like mine leaned more towards that with me and my friends. Like we had this ongoing saga on the ship, and then it was just like who we murdered and who we did all this other stuff. So I guess like
quote that. We had the ship where, depending on who we murdered, that's how we played Barbies. Murdering people.
We did. Like a lot of times there was like fights, and there was always like, and then there was the romances too, where like, okay, this person's gonna marry this person, but then this person has an ex-husband that's gonna come in and like try to ruin the situation. Like
Margot
we had
Robbie
these
would
like
either be
elaborate.
disappointed or super enthused, one of the two.
Yeah.
Bentley says, I'm currently transitioning from being a player to a GM, and the most nerve-wracking thing is almost everyone around me has been playing for a while, so I get worried that I'm going to mess it up.
Yep. And that's honestly been my biggest fear. So the way I kind of combated that a little bit is, so I did like kind of one-shots, and then I started running Call of Cthulhu. And I did that for Zine and Monkey Swag's birthday, because they have birthdays near each other. And I was trying to decide which game to like run for them. And I'm like, well, nobody really runs Call of Cthulhu. So if I learn that and I get like pretty decent at it, or just, if I have a basic grasp of the rules, like nobody knows.
Yeah, you know more about the rules than everyone else, so you can make the call. You don't have to worry about.
Yeah. And sometimes when I'm GMing, I'm just like, hey, because the one thing in Call of Cthulhu too, it says in there that like the keeper has the final say of like any rule. So, I mean, I kind of use that as like permission to be like, hey, if we want to keep the game moving, I'm just going to call it like this because that's what I think is fair.
Right.
And then, we can look it up later, and if we determine later that I did it wrong or whatever, we'll correct it in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a similar when I was playing GURPS. Like, I didn't know the rules, but I was also so young at the time that I just wanted to tell a story. And still to this day, when it's, I don't have, I've developed this thing that I have with all role playing, and it's, if I don't know the rules, I have to look it up. And if I'm with 4 people that all know the rules, I have to look it up. Mm-hmm. Even if they all say this is the thing, on the side, I go and I look it up. But for the sake of the content, the straight, to get through the game, if I'm not sure and I'm doing something, I'm like, hey, the players know when you don't know the rules. And they want to play. So if you're like, hey, especially if they're GMs, if I'm like, hey, Steven the Shark, what is the rule in like, and we did this when we were playing the Movember games. I don't remember all of the Movember rules. So I'm like, Steven, what is the rule if I want to do this? What is the, if I'm a GM, I do the same thing. Like, I'm running, I don't know the rule for a certain thing. What is the rules as written, and are there any other things that I could probably flex if I want to, do it this way? And any other GM at the table, if it's Monkey Swag, if it's Matt, if it's whatever, I just say, hey, what is the rule for this one mechanic in the game? And they'll say what it is. It's like, awesome, thanks. And then I'll make my decision based on what the other GMs in the group say. And that's something I think, because like what Bentley said, there's worried of like, I'm going to mess it up.
Yeah.
They know. If they're experienced, they know that it's your first time, and they want to help you. Because dear God, do the forever GMs want to play?
Right.
So don't worry about it. Have fun with it.
Yeah. Well, and like for Call of Cthulhu more than like I think 5th Ed. Well, I don't know. When I was doing my research for Call of Cthulhu, there is a lot of stuff you can find online. And so like if you look up this guy on YouTube, I think it's Seth, and I'm gonna butcher his name because I'm not good at names, but it's Gorwowski or something.
Okay.
He has like a video series on YouTube of like 6 videos that goes through the basics of Call of Cthulhu. And then he also published a cheat sheet that we use in our games. That's just like a couple pager that just has quick and dirty rules, basically.
Yeah, I like that sheet that you gave to all of us.
And that's something he just put together. And he does like a lot of Call of Cthulhu stuff on his YouTube. But like I'll even go in and like rewatch some of his videos to go over like the different sections of the rule book, and he breaks it down really nice too, and especially explaining like character creation, insanity rolls. He even does like a chase one about how chase scenes work and stuff. And then there's also what I found is helpful. So I run a lot of modules, and you can a lot of times find, there's not a lot of them, but you can find other live plays that other people have done, and if you watch multiple ones, you can kind of see like how each of the keepers have kind of adjusted the story.
Okay. Get in on that dungeon.
Yeah. So it's just like, and it's not necessarily that you want to obviously copy what they're doing, but it's interesting to see how other people tweak the same module.
Right.
Too. Because a lot of the Call of Cthulhu modules, like, they start out kind of the same way. And because they kind of assume that you're like a group of investigators and that somebody's coming to you to be hired out.
Yeah.
And I don't like the repetition of that. So like in some of the games I've kind of like started out with that, but I've been trying to like change it up a little bit in each of the beginning points to make like the starting session like a little bit different, or to try to be like to tie somebody that's in the module to a character to give more motivation.
Yeah.
Like Chris Parker, like one of her students was missing from class, and so
Gives
and
you
that was like
motivation to do whatever you need.
Yep. And this last game especially, like the module starts out completely different, and some of the modules are like there's like 6 different beginnings you can choose from. So like the beginning game in that funeral was something that was all something, my first taste of creating something completely different. And then I just put different NPCs from like another scene in the module at the funeral. So in that way I could skip like a whole later scene.
Yeah.
And then Rockheim's character is actually an NPC from the module that just happens to fit into our world.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
cool.
I was like, oh, he needs a character. Here's an NPC. He owns
I did not
a
know that
magic
character
shop.
was in the module. That is cool. That
Yeah.
makes that really interesting.
Yeah. So that was like an easy transition.
Yeah. Monkey Swag said earlier, it's easy to blank, and I think this is toward to Bentley. It's easy to blank when you GM and have 2 handfuls of other things going on. I feel like I know the majority of the Pathfinder 1E rules, but there are things that I know that I forget in the heat of the moment. Totally true. Especially when you have like shenanigans going on, or somebody hits you with something that you weren't expecting.
Yep.
And with a lot of these groups, especially, I know very much if you get me and Matt as players, there's always going to be little weird shenanigans. It's like, well, can I do this weird thing? You know, can I grab that fire hydrant? Is there a fire hydrant nearby? What are you going to do with the fucking fire hydrant? You know. So
well,
you never know.
Yeah, well, and it like the first game that I ran of Call of Cthulhu, which wasn't streamed, the whole hook of the adventure was this guy Josh, who finds like a potential tunnel in his house, and like the major thing that's supposed to happen is that everybody meets there and they kind of like
No. No, he's sleeping.
So yeah, there's like this tunnel, and the players are supposed to like go get a hotel room for the night and come back the next day, and then like Josh, the NPC, is like lost down the tunnel, and then you have to go find him. And all the players were like, we don't want to leave Josh alone because we don't trust him. And I, as the keeper, to get us like my first game of the Call of Cthulhu series, I was like, shit.
Yeah, how do you separate him from everyone else?
Yeah. And I got lucky because I said, well, there's no food in the house, or like the food that's in the house is like real old and not good. And so everybody's like, oh, we'll just go out and we'll get lunch and we'll get some groceries and we'll come back. And I'm like, sweet. I'm like, so I change it from like 8 hours of him being lost to like literally as soon as the characters leave, like Josh just, skadoodly bops into the tunnel that he's not supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And gets captured.
And we were all like, that we left him alone for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Steven the Shark, GM DM work is a million times more work than playing, but it's worth it. I agree. Yeah. What do you think is the hallmark of both of your GMing styles that's translated from playing?
Oh, that's a good question.
For me, my first, I GM'd a lot of games and I had a lot of different strategies and things. But for me, I think one of the biggest things is I like making sure that all of the characters try and get their moment in the sunlight.
Yeah.
And because I, as a player who tries very hard, I as Nick try very hard not to steal the spotlight, not to push people out of the way. And it's very hard because I like to play the kind of characters that have a lot of personality. And so sometimes when you see me just sitting there be like, I don't do anything, that's me being like trying to give someone else the spotlight because I know I have all these things I want to do.
Right.
And so as the GM, one of the things I've brought over from being a player is making sure all of the other players, their characters, get a moment in the spotlight or a time to make their character feel special at some point in time. So I think that's one of the bigger ones for me.
Yeah. I agree with that, and I think part of that also stems from like I was a theater major too, and there is that little like performance piece where you want to explore all the things, kind of. I kind of will say like one thing when I try to do with GMing. Well, maybe two things. Like one, I have in my head with like in regards to like pacing or just like GMing as well is I sort of have like an invisible NPC. That's, I guess I would term it as either time or fate. So as characters are doing things, like my thought process is like I kind of know like when things are supposed to happen from a character standpoint, but it's like keeping in the back of my head like the world is doing its own thing in the background. So like even though like the characters have autonomy of what they're doing, if you don't get to something quick enough, or if it's something where it works in the story, like I will adjust the timeline or have fate go like push through. And I think Call of Cthulhu is pretty flexible about that, even with their modules.
Yeah.
The other thing that I like to do is I like to, and I've kind of did this in theater too, is I like to try to do things a little bit outside the norm of what I've seen in like I don't know, like movies or production. Like I guess I would harken back to like the Mutants and Masterminds game. And I wanted
that is our timer. We are up, but we will finish our current topic and catch up on chat if there's anything in there.
There was a character in that game that was a conspiracy theorist, and I was like, what if I just give him clues that are absolutely meaningless, and just because it's like his character's like everything's connected and blah blah, and it's this big and intricate pattern, and I'm like, well, if I introduce this NPC here that's just like does not have a logic flow whatsoever. And it's just doing things just for the sake of doing them. Like he's gonna go crazy and make his own pattern whatsoever. So like I gave him a stalker that how the game started is that she mailed him a burnt sock. And that was it. And from there, that's how the game like escalated into this investigation and what the meaning behind this burnt sock was. And the reality is there was no meaning to it other than this person's a crazy person that just wanted his attention. And so it kind of just developed from there. And like eventually when he figured it out, he was kind of irritated. But it brought me joy.
That's funny.
Because and then one of the key parts is she sent him like a letter that says, "I've kidnapped your friend." And then when he finally confronted her, she like threatened this teddy bear, saying, if you don't surrender, I'm gonna burn this teddy bear of yours, your best friend. And he's like, have I even seen this teddy bear before? And I'm like, no. So
okay, go for it.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, that's kind of where like I try to take different tropes or different things that I read from social or from books or different shows and kind of twist them a little bit. And this can kind of transition, I guess, into Call of Cthulhu, because I will say I'm a little bit of a poser because I haven't read much of actual H.P. Lovecraft, but I like horror.
Yeah.
And horror is one of my favorite genres. And I feel like there's a lot of different things you can pull from different like books and stories and movies, and just things to bring that aspect of horror, just to bring like another dimension. Like in the last game where David's mom, like she failed the sanity check, failed the intelligence check, which is something I love about Call of Cthulhu, is like when you're doing an insanity check, you first make an int check to see if you realize what you're experiencing is otherworldly or not. And if you fail the int check, I'm like, oh, it's just the wind.
Yeah.
Or your mind just rationalizes it.
Right.
If you make the int check, you realize that something paranormal is happening. And then that's when the sanity loss comes in, because you're like, this shouldn't be in existence.
Yeah. Wait,
and
that
so
shit's real? I saw a real Bigfoot. Oh my god, it wasn't just a bear.
Like, and then like, what do you do with this information afterwards?
Right.
And so in that part where I said, that she's out of space and time, and that time is planar instead of linear, that is something from like Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. That whole book is about time being a planar thing instead of linear.
Yeah.
Concept, and I've always really loved that concept.
And
it's
it does fit into the Call of Cthulhu, that creepy vibe.
Yeah.
The feel of it just is creepy.
Yeah. Of being
Octavia's coming in. Oh, finishing the discussion of the topic. That's a cool idea. Never experienced that myself. That's not true. That was only on the first one. Only on the first episode. After that, he came back and we did it the normal way. We were learning. This was a new show.
Yep.
Octavia's still complaining about being the first person on Off the Pod ever. And he's still complaining about it. Jeez. It was a concept. That was the pilot episode.
Oh, okay.
And I trusted him to be on it, and he's still complaining about it. Jeez. I enjoyed that for her. It'll really F with her later on. Yeah.
Yeah, it will.
All right, we'll do one more. We'll do one more of the tabletop RPG to GM series. What advice do you have for keeping the story interesting and not just being the same fights over and over? Don't have fights. Try and role play without fights and see what you do. Tell a story.
Yeah.
I was gonna say earlier, like if you want to practice, get a group of people. We used to do this before I met RalanaHalo here. A thing we used to do is we'd be working, a handful of us, we were all role players, we all worked at a grocery store. We'd all take our break together and we'd just bring a die 20 and we wouldn't have characters. Just somebody would be the GM and here's what happens. They'd drop a story. Here's the theme of the world. Here's what's happening. What do you do? And we didn't have character sheets. We didn't have stats. All we had, if we really needed a deciding factor on a yes or no, it would be roll a die 20.
Yep.
And that was it. And then the GM would just say whether or not it failed. And sometimes some of them were very biased. They didn't actually care what you rolled on the dice. It was just there to make you feel like it was not arbitrary.
Right. Yeah. So I will say in Call of Cthulhu, if you're in a fight that's that's kind of bad. I mean, there are some modules like the one where David died. Like that's how the module ends. It's a standoff. And so like I was nervous at that one because I'm like, yeah, like Call of Cthulhu, you have 10 hit points and that's it. You're never getting like higher hit points ever. So
I'm going to start the timer for Call of Cthulhu since we're talking about it.
Yeah. I would say like kind of, I don't know. I guess if you're running a lot of modules and you feel like it's repetitive, to like find where you can change it up or to like do minor tweaks to make it focus on one of the characters that's playing one of the player characters if you can. And just like do minor changes, like kind of compare it to your last game and then see what you can adjust to. And I think it's like combat's, I don't know, like in D&D and Pathfinder, like combat's great to an extent, but yeah, if you can avoid combat or if you can give like different be open to different alternatives other than combat, like what if like it's supposed to be a combat, but what if the players want to come in and either intimidate or diplomatize out the situation? Like what does that look like?
Right. Well, and also look at, and I paused the timer because this is a little off, but love the kitty headphones. Yes. If you look at our Claimer's Conquest, since we brought back, what used to be Curse of the Crimson Throne, now the Claimer's Conquest. If you look at that game, and I'm looking right now to see when we actually brought that back, that was back in, let's see here. So the Aftermath is almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So to put it into context, the new Curse of the Crimson Throne, Claimer's Conquest, which is a year old, almost once a month, sometimes twice a month.
Yeah.
Multiple games. You go back and you look at that. We haven't had a combat yet.
No.
Like they've been in combat, but there was like combat going on and they were like kind of getting away and there was initiatives, but they weren't really in a fight. It was get away from the giants and the giant dragon that's going to murder you all.
Right.
But there wasn't any there hasn't, and other than that, at the very beginning to intro the story, in the last year, there has been zero combat.
Yeah.
And so take a look at that and see how that's played and see how that's built for the story and the characters. And it's been very interesting. Not that there won't be combat, but yeah, it's you can tell an entire story without combat.
Well, and I would also, I don't know, this is kind of continuing this conversation, but I would say sometimes you just kind of need to sit back and let your players role play.
Yeah.
Because if they've, I think it's very good when you're starting a game, if you have either the players get together and make connections with each other, or if you help them make connections. And that's what I really did try to do in Call of Cthulhu, is I made them connected to this NPC and then kind of connected to the city itself. And then when we introduce new characters, like I try to find like a connection for them.
Mhm.
If they have these connections and these motivations, there are times where you can take a break and just let your players role play with
Yeah.
each other and just kind of sit back. And then, you know, when you feel like you need to intervene, or if you feel like you need to move the story along, then move the story.
Yeah.
So
That's also
yeah.
that's also a classic Matt Mercer move too.
Mhm.
Just sit back and say nothing. And if there's a
Yeah.
little bit of a pause while they're talking, to fill that gap, they'll start interacting and talking with each other.
Right.
Sure.
Yep.
You said you like a lot of horror stuff, but you're not huge into Call of Cthulhu. How much of Call of Cthulhu have you learned before the game, and how much have you learned after the game?
So most of my Call of Cthulhu, honestly, before the game.
And I mean Lovecraft is what I mean, but
yeah. Honestly, before with Lovecraft, I knew he was a writer, and I knew about Cthulhu, really, and
yeah.
but I
and
never
me and
like
Brian
really.
doing this all the time.
Yeah, but like I never actually like read the books. And then afterwards, like I don't know, I'm not a huge, like, besides RPG books, I'm not a huge reader. We've been slowly kind of getting back into it, but Del Toro did his Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix, and there's, I think, The Witch's House is one of the series on there, and then I can't remember the other one. There's 2 Lovecraft episodes in Cabinet of Curiosities.
Okay.
So that's about as much as I kind of ventured, besides watching, like, mostly I've been reading modules, and now I have the bestiary, so I've been reading up on the bestiary. Reading up on what was it, the Dreamlands and the different deities, since we've kind of been introduced to that more.
Yeah.
And
you get some of that from Pathfinder First Edition too, because they do a lot of. I mean, one of their bestiaries is entirely like it's got all of the old world Lovecraftian gods and monsters in the entire book. So yeah.
The crazy part, like, if you read the spells in Call of Cthulhu, just like the fact that you can make space mead, and then you summon a creature, and you just fly to space.
It's crazy. Yeah, get on get on in, exclamation mark join. Thank you, Barlack, for triggering that.
Like, and just thinking about being in like the 1920s and trying to have that concept of like, what is space like?
Yeah.
Like, in that sense, because it's like you have to, like, just thinking about being back in that time, in that history, like, I don't know, this isn't horror, but I was watching The Gilded Age on HBO.
Okay.
And one of the interesting scenes in the movie was it's set in like the 1900s New York, and with the railroad scene. And one of the scenes was all the people going to see streetlights for the first time. And they were used to just like street lamps. But then, like, this one street, they had electric light. And when I watched like the after commentary of that, they said like one of the eyewitnesses from that event said it was if God himself came down from heaven and like lit up the street. And it's just like something nowadays, like if you you know, go to a city and you see streetlights, it's normal.
Right.
There's not that sense of awe with that. And so that's something I try to think about too when running Call of Cthulhu in the 1920s, is like, okay, like the I mean, the technology is further forward, but like some of these concepts, it's just like it's even more foreign to somebody to think about going to outer space, or like what the cosmos looks like.
Right. And then you add the horror spin onto that.
Right.
The fantasy horror spin onto that.
Yep.
I was when you broached doing Call of Cthulhu, and I'm pretty sure we've discussed this in the past, but like I love Lovecraftian stuff. I've always loved Lovecraftian. That started way back when I watched an episode of The Real Ghostbusters and they had a Cthulhu episode, and I was like, what's that? And then I found out that there was more, and there's this whole Lovecraftian universe. But I never played Call of Cthulhu. Never. I've had people always talking about it, and they're like, why haven't you played? I'm like, because I don't know the game. I don't know where to play. I don't know anyone who plays it. And then you're like, let's play Call of Cthulhu. And I'm like, damn it, I'm in. You've got me. Take my money.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, me and Curly Girl went and bought like the first 2 books, and, we're like, we're in. Let's do this. So I was super excited. And I think I recall you saying the same thing. Like, I don't know much about the Lovecraftian universe. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I just want to play the system at this point.
Right.
And horror stuff is horror stuff.
Yeah.
And, and if you do run any modules, which I didn't know you were running modules when you had planned it, but I was like, if people run modules, that's going to have the shit in there because that's the whole point.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the modules are like pretty good about like having everything in there or like having references, and you can get like a lot of stuff online too, like a lot of information, or even there's like a website where like you can get character sheets that are pre-made.
Yeah.
That you can use as a basis and stuff. So I have to say I really like the Call of Cthulhu system. As far as like skills and leveling.
I do too.
Just the idea that you do a check mark, for a skill that they're successful at, and then from there that's how you level up. Because then it makes like the die rolls actually mean more.
Yeah.
And then
I like that if you fail really bad, you learn something, and if you succeed really good, you learn something, or you have the chance of learning something. And I like that. And it's only the skills that you use.
Yep. Yeah, and then if there's a skill that you have that's like you're really good at, when you level up, like that's harder to level up that skill, because the theory is, if I'm really good at playing the piano and I'm expected to do like a good performance of that, so to really level up that skill is going to be harder than something I'm trying at the first time. Woo, raid!
Welcome in, Raiders! Well, Queenly Dove, formerly known as Purpley Dove. If you guys don't know who Purpley Dove is, you do now. Formerly Purpley Dove, now known as Queenly Dove. If you didn't know Queenly was Purpley, now you do. And if you don't, go and give her a follow. If you haven't already, there's the link. Go and give a follow. Streaming a couple times today. I was in there lurking and hanging out, and then they had to go pick up some kiddos, and then came back, and I've been lurking for that as well. So a lot of games: Phasmophobia, Fortnite, Call of Duty. You were playing Call of Duty today, and they are primarily a console streamer. I think PlayStation. I believe. I could be wrong. A lot of fun, great person to chat with. Go and check them out, give them a follow, and hang out over there. You will often see them on throughout the day. So fun person to just kind of hang out and chill with. Thank you so much for the raid. Hopefully your stream was well. If you need to go take care of yourself, well, please do. We are talking about the Call of Cthulhu RPG. We just got done talking about transferring from a player to a GM in tabletop role playing. We're going to be talking about our favorite bad movies. And horrible movies that we like that other people might think are horrible, and all of that kind of stuff. That's another topic. And of course, we've got potluck still to come. So welcome on in, Raiders. Yeah, I like the leveling system of skills because it's there are a lot of games where it's like you don't use a skill and you're like, you can put the points wherever you want. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And even for a while with D&D. Thank you, Queenly, for the Pedro, which we do have an emote of that. There it is. Placing that emote. Penny Potato saying, RalanaHalo, is this a new Twitch name? I know your face better than your Twitch name. You know her face because she's here every Wednesday when we role play.
I have, and usually I have character names underneath me.
Yeah, and usually it's character names and not the stream names. Here we go again. I love that meme. That is a pseudo tribute to our friend Mokanoise. I have a lot of the Tangia redeems are like tributes to things that other streamers have on their stream that I really enjoy. So that's the Mokanoise has that on his, and I was like, I have to have that. And he's actually got. There's another one, the Undos Tres Cuatro, and he has the emote of the little dancing Undos Tres Cuatro cat. And so I kind of got the idea from that, and I was like, let me see if here's the Undos Tres Cuatro cat, the Mexicat, that's what it's called.
Mexicat.
And so I was like,
cute.
I want the Pedro as an emote, and Lyric Lost got me a clip of the thing, so we turned it into emote. So thank you, Lyric Lost, for that. Oh yeah, the Spooky House.
Ooh, Spooky House during Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah. And the earlier we had the Can I Pet That Dog? That's kind of a tribute to Death Joker. So.
Yeah, we say that at the gym all the time.
Can I pet that dog?
That dog.
Pet that dog. So yeah, I've got a couple others that I want to add that are like they're just going to be little sound true, but they aren't on Tangia, so I have to add them elsewhere.
Okay.
But I want to. There are some little sound bites that I kind of want to add to places that are going to just be pseudo little tributes to our other streamer friends. And I know some people have emotes and alerts. Like I have a lot of alerts that, we've got the Bentley alert and we've got the Octavius alerts and stuff like that. So little tributes to all of our streamer friends that I try to do here and there. And eventually we'll get them all, but then the streamer friends number keeps growing. So the number grows and grows and grows.
It's good.
For sure. So we are in the in-between times between games. We had a game scheduled, but then I lost my voice. So eventually, maybe this week or next week we'll get to scheduling when the next one is. I'm guessing it's probably not going to be until in March at some point, unless we do on a weekend or something. But do you have plans for after this story arc is done?
Yeah, I have. So I have a ton of modules, and I'm trying to, because I'm still a little bit nervous about writing my own like actual module itself, or writing my own like complete session. So this one was a really good test because like probably like the first half of it was all stuff that I wrote with the funeral. So it was a good test to see how well that worked out. I feel like that did work really well.
Yeah.
And then with the whole funeral itself, and now we're kind of just getting into the module. I do have, because we do have like the reoccurring snake villain, and we have a player character that's insane in an asylum right now.
Right.
So, I mean, the snake guy got away, so he's going to be coming back for revenge probably. I do have I don't know, I don't want to give too much away, but I do have like an overarching thing for, well, I have something both for Jessica Brooks, who went insane, and for David.
Okay.
Kind of in my head, because with Call of Cthulhu and as a player, like having a character like die or like be permagon is kind of always been like really hard for me.
Okay.
And so, well, I guess I shouldn't say really hard. I feel like it's kind of maybe a little bit painful, or it's like for not necessarily like, well, one, you get attached, but then two, there's work involved. Right. And with Call of Cthulhu, it's a little bit easier because most of the characters are pre-made.
Right.
But I like to like still be able to give homage to prior characters. to have, them not completely forgotten about.
Yeah.
So I kind of have like a path in mind for them. I don't necessarily have like an angle for each character in the story, because I feel like that's something more for the players to do
Okay.
in Call of Cthulhu. And it's a game that like potentially eventually you're probably going to either die or go insane.
Well, I mean, that's the point. It's you survive as long as you can. And I think we all knew that going in, that it's like,
Yep.
I mean, to the point where those of us who know, like I said, even though I had never played Call of Cthulhu before, like after our first game, I'm like, all right, I'm working on my backup character, because no character, like, this isn't a 1 to 20 game. This is a who can survive the longest game.
Right.
And eventually it's going to be a whole different crew, and the story's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
Right. The cast is it's a rolling cast of characters, and maybe even players, depending on how it goes. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the things that like I have kind of planned in my head for the characters are kind of like not like big overarching things, but kind of like smaller things that eventually I want to do with them. Or I kind of have a way of like, okay, if this person fails a sanity check, this is the direction I want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of thing. So there's another module that I want to run in the first book, but I'm like, I need to get it to like summertime in part of the timeline. And that's part of the reason why I'm not running it now, is because the way things lined up, it's still kind of like winter/early spring.
Yeah.
So that's my plan to run that next one, is the summertime one, because it's at a resort and I just think that's kind of fun.
Here comes Jason.
So hopefully, depending on how this one ends, it's also kind of hard to plan too, because depending on how this one ends, like with a lot of the modules, there's so many different ways that it could end. Like if everybody goes insane or whatever, or if everybody TPKs,
right?
Then it's like, then you kind of have to start all over a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and there are like, I do have books for like, there's Pulp Call of Cthulhu,
right?
Which I thought would be interesting. And there's also the French Revolution Call of Cthulhu, which I thought would be interesting as well.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'd either like to play or run in. They have the Orient Express module.
Oh, yeah.
And I am very curious about that one.
Right. They're always coming out with new ones. There was a new one. I think it was the Pulp one that came out when I had the Mike Mason on. Was that the one they were promoting?
I think he was promoting one in, I want to say Japan. Like the setting was in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Which I also thought would be interesting. And then I think he was talking about the 1980s.
Okay.
There was a module that I almost ran for the first game, because it was all online and it was all free and all the pre-mades were free. And it was set in the 1990s, and it was like a cabin in the woods, like northern Minnesota feel.
Yeah.
Which I'm like would have been great.
I mean, you could still set it in modern in the 20s, right? You could just change the setting.
Well, the reason why I didn't run it is because all the character motivations that were written out were like all these different love triangles.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, I would have to get everybody's like buy-in first.
Right. Permission
with that. Yeah. Well, and I'm like, and with like how many married couples are in our groups?
Right. Yeah.
That would be kind of awkward. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like anybody's gonna like be making out with other people on in
no, but well, and part of it too, it was for Zine and Monkey Swag's like birthday game.
Okay.
And so I'm like, they're not gonna want like a game that has underlying romance tones.
You should have done it, and you should have had them with a romance for each other, and had them
probably
role play
should have.
That's what you should have done.
Yeah.
Then Monkey Swag and Zine could make out.
Yeah. It'd be like a secret lovers.
Secret lovers. Dun, 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 dun.
But I mean, it was like a very interesting module that I think I would like to run at some point.
You'd like
Yeah,
that, wouldn't
Epic.
you, Epic?
Yeah.
I mean, I've already made out with Monkey Swag, so I mean, oh, I wasn't supposed to talk about that. Shh.
Oh, shoot.
Darn.
Secrets.
Secrets. I've got a secret. None of that's true, by the way, guys. It's not true. I was just joking.
Yeah.
This is where I push the button that does the zoom in of my face.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. What about doing an alternate, like a different team that's doing other shit roughly at the same time and get like a whole different group of players?
Yeah, there's another I'd definitely be open to that. And there's another setting where it's again 1920s, but it's there's a few archaeology ones.
Oh.
That I thought would be interesting to run.
Well, and a lot of Lovecraftian stories are archaeologist type stories in their depths into research and whatever. And that's kind of one of the issues with bringing it to an RPG is, you know, there's a lot of research, and the research is what's slowly driving them mad, and the little things and little conversations and little things that happen that slowly drive them mad. It's like, you can't, some of those you can't really role play those stories out unless it's like a one-on-two type thing. So
yeah. Well, and like, yeah, I feel like our group is like pretty good with that sort of stuff. I don't know. I will say in Call of Cthulhu, I probably railroad a little bit, but I do warn you guys ahead of time when I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get you on the railroad in this beginning to get the story going, and then once we get to the station, you can do what you want.
Yeah, and for people that are new to role playing, I'll in on a little secret. Like, I usually tell people, like, I will, if the GM needs me to come up with a reason for my character to go in a specific direction to tell the story, let me know, and I will make up a reason that makes sense for my character.
Yeah.
Like, that's my job, to me as a player, is to try and go along with what the story is. And a lot of people like to make that excuse, well, that's not what my character would do. It's like, you get to choose what your character is going to do. You can find a reason to make it work. I say this all the time. And our group is very much like, you know, a lot of very experienced players, or if they're inexperienced, they've been with experienced players enough where they get like a crash course in advanced, you know, if they've only been doing it for 5 years, they still play better than those of us who have been doing it for 20. So
yeah. Well, and like, I've been in a situation too where it's like I've been in some things where I'm like, I can't think of a reason. And it's like, if you're in that situation where you can't think of a reason, just ask your GM or ask the keeper, because then usually it's, you know, you just both need the brainstorm, or it's like, or the player just needs a clarification.
Right. Yeah.
Or like, I can't think of a reason right now, and then you think about it later and you're like, oh, actually, I can do this.
Unless Steven's the GM, and then we all just are like cats.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck that. He wants to go this way, we're not going that way.
Yeah.
You're monster hunters. You need to investigate a smell.
What?
Fuck. We went along with it. Come on now.
It did. I did
Under
want
the
to
bus goes Steven. We love Steven. What were you gonna say?
I said I did want to beat up that old lady that we found.
Yeah, the old lady that might have been a witch but wasn't a witch, but could have been a witch.
Yeah.
You know, if combat would have started, he would have been like, she turns into a dragon and eats your souls. You know, he would have done something like that.
Yeah, most stuff. Most stuff.
Speaking of, Stephen will, as far as I am aware, will be joining us for a special stream in 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks when Fight in the Box returns. We got 2 shows of Fight in the Box returning. Guys, 2 Fight in the Box shows. We've got the 12th, which is a tabletop RPG. For the tabletop RPG Mechanical Corners, we will have some special guests for that as well. And then on the following Monday, we're going to be having them back for their new board game. So I believe Steven is going to be joining us for that. So stay tuned for more information on those special Fight in the Box RPG and board game streams. And they are both to support their Kickstarters. So the new Kickstarter is coming out, which is going to have the actual physical book of Mechanical Corners. We can get our hands on a real Mechanical Corners RPG. I am so excited. I've only been harassing them about that for 2 years now. And so yeah, they've got all of they've got video clips that I told them they can use all the video clips of them doing it from here. Of course, we had the one with Eric Scott to be Ed Greenwood and Chris Jackson that did it. They're going to have access to this stream that we're going to be doing on the 12th for their Kickstarter as well. They've also got all those guys, I believe, to do little write-ups on their thoughts on the game and how that went. So a lot of people backing the RPG, and I think the Kickstarter is for both the RPG and the game. I'm not really sure if you can like bid on them separately, or I think you can. I think if you could bid on the board game and you can bid on the RPG, you can get one, you can get the other, or you could get both. And I think you can get backlog stuff. So it's going to be really cool with Fight in the Box. So you definitely want to stick around for that coming up on the 12th, and then the following Monday, which is, I just redid my thing here, the 17th, right? No, yep, the 17th. So that's going to be Monday the 17th. Our Off the Pod that week will be on the Tuesday. So with that being said, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ban this bot that just came in over on Kick. Goodbye, bot. And we're going to go to break. So
thought you meant Rockheim.
Nope, not Rockheim. So guys, please stick around. When we return from break, we're going to talk about the bad movies that we love. Probably you guys will give us shit. We'll give each other shit. We'll give you, the audience, shit. So get your movies of the movies that are horrible movies that you love ready to talk to us about, and we'll be back in just a little bit to chat about that. See you in a few.
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, see, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops of the Creeper. He's got to be in on it.
Right.
Scooby-Doo, where are you? Oh boy, Scooby-Dooby-Doo with epic rims.
I just won't bang them, so it's
Right. I need my calculator for that. What the?
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it, and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in-house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
You ready?
No.
You ready?
No. How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping.
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
they had a flip cup game tournament, so I was the host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was the host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl of their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along?" And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim. So I was like, yeah, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called me.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now, but now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
into a different
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. ! Discord for the link. Cheers.
I will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right? Titties for biddies. Thank you. Look at that clip.
Will.
Billy.
Oh my God. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB. Hold on. I'll be in my bunk. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, Movember. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Movember.
Oh, shit.
Welcome on in. I appreciate you.
Welcome in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our team.
Shit. We have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans. Huh.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't
of
have
the prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't. Shenanigans aren't
Speak for
suing everyone.
yourself. Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
guys, our team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000.
Wow.
There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
These are my thumbs, and they dance. Boop 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 boop. Hey. There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I don't know what Dick and Milk is. Oh, Nuts and Milk. Dick a Game A. All right, everybody, we are back from break. Thank you for sticking around through the break. I appreciate all of you staying here while we went and relieved ourselves and got refills on drinks and liquids and all of that kind of fun stuff. So thank you so much for being here. Of course, thank you for triggering the dungeons. Thank you for the raids earlier and all of the bits. I believe I got everybody in the shout-outs on the break. So if I missed you, I apologize. Don't think it was intentional, because it wasn't. You all know I love to shout you guys out and give you guys all of the props that you all deserve. So thank you so much. Zion, are you ready? Are you ready? For those of you just coming in during the break or came in mid-topic, we started out the stream today. Our first topic was going from a player to game master and making that transition. How do you make that transition? What are some of the challenges in that? What are things that you can bring as a player to becoming a game master, as opposed to just starting off as a game master cold turkey? All of the things you learn from that. So we talked about those little situations. From there, we kind of shifted over into Call of Cthulhu. We talked quite a bit about Call of Cthulhu in the first chapter, or in the first subject, and we spent a lot of time talking about the Call of Cthulhu RPG, some of the mythos of it, some of the TV shows that are inspired by Call of Cthulhu, some of the nuances of the RPG and what makes the RPG very special, and of course, our Call of Cthulhu campaign that we do here on stream from time to time. So we talked about all of that kind of stuff, got your input, your insights, and of course got trolled by all of you on stuff as well. So, so yeah, that was a lot of fun. I do love Call of Cthulhu. It was a great topic. But now, completely shifting it, what you all have been waiting for. We're going to talk about bad movies that we like, bad movies that you guys like, movies that everybody doesn't like that we like, and all of the assorted combinations of that. And when I sent Rachel the message, when I was like, what's another topic we should talk about? We were talking about, I was like, we should talk about bad movies we like, because and I saw it this week. I saw a cover for a movie and I was like, oh, that's Rachel's movie. And this movie that I always see it, I always associate this movie with you every time I see it, is the movie where the tire rolls through town murdering everybody.
Yep.
The movie Rubber, because I remember you talking it up for like days after you saw it.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it is one of my favorite movies. It's I don't know, it's just very, I think part of it is because I'm one of those people that when I go see a movie, I can predict movies pretty easily.
Yeah.
Because I took screenwriting, and so I know when the plot points and the midpoint is gonna happen. So Rubber is one of those movies where, besides the fact that like it's a tire that kills people, it's very difficult to predict. And like, I'll be honest, it's been years, so I don't remember like everything of the plot, so I'm not going to be giving away spoilers.
I just posted the plot in the chat.
Oh, there you go.
I think I'm just going to, when we mention the movies, I'm going to try and remember. I'm going to try and keep up, and I'm just going to post the IMDb for some of the movies summary we talk about.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that I really did enjoy about Rubber is that you have the tire, and then you have a group of characters called the audience, or the spectators.
Okay.
And they are watching everything that the tire is doing from a distance. And so it's a kind of a commentary on, I forget what it's called, but in theater and movies you have what's called like the mind of the audience.
Yeah.
And it's the theory about when you go see a film or a stage play, the audience is all one mind.
Right.
In their reaction. So you get to see it play out as people are like commentating on the actions of the tire. And you see like all variety of people. And I remember at some point like somebody orders fried chicken and they're watching with binoculars this tire like hunting people down while eating like fried chicken. and it's just very absurd. And then when the tire kills people, it like literally like revs up and then decapitates people.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So there you go, guys. That's Rubber. That's a movie. And if you guys have movies that you know are horrible, and I know we all have them.
Oh, right. It had psychic powers as well.
It had psychic top. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rockheim is still in here, but Rockheim and we have an affinity for the same movie. Here's the IMDb for it. Of course, talking about B movies, you can't talk about B movies that we love without talking about Bruce Campbell. And there is a movie called My Name is Bruce. And it is a stupid, horrible movie about Bruce Campbell, where Bruce Campbell plays Bruce Campbell in a parody of himself being Bruce Campbell.
Yep.
And he literally is like, it's dumb. It is so dumb, but it is so good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Rockheim can confirm. And so like these kids bring him out for like, I don't remember if it was like a convention or what it was. Oh no, they hired him for like a birthday party, for a kid's birthday party. And he shows up to this town and the kids really brought him in to try and fight this monster because they think the shit he does in movies is real. And yeah, it's dumb and ridiculous and fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Wan you, wan me, wan ti. Yeah, because they fight this demon, this Japanese demon thing called Yanti, and he's like the bean curd devil or something like that. The devil of bean curds.
Wow.
It's so bad. But it's so fucking hilarious. And not to mention there's a plethora. Like I used to collect Christopher Lambert movies. So like I am in no way, shape, or form allowed to judge people for their bad movie tastes.
Yeah.
You know, I once watched a movie called Druids in its entirety. It's the only Christopher Lambert movie that I never finished.
I feel like I've seen that movie a long time ago, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm sorry if you made it through it.
Like back in high school, we didn't have a Blockbuster because our town was too small for a Blockbuster, but we had like a family-owned DVD rental place. And if you got old movies, you could rent them for $1. And so that was the thing to do, was me and my best friend, we would go to the DVD rental and we would it was the guy knew us because we'd spend hours there because both her and I are very indecisive people.
Okay.
And so like literally we would be in there for like probably like between typically 2 to 4 hours because we'd be browsing different movies that we'd wanted to talk about watching. And then people in town would come in and people that we knew. So then we get distracted from picking up a movie and we'd be talking to like other people that we knew.
Right.
And chatting with them. And it's just this old guy was just laughing at us, I remember, because it's like these two girls being like, I don't know if we should do this one or that one. And I remember there was one day that was like, it was literally, we were there for 4 hours. And it's like, if we would have just rented the movies that we were looking at,
you would have been able to watch them and return them in that time.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it was half the fun.
As a young teenage boy, most of the time we were in there and we'd look over our shoulder to see if they were looking. And then we'd get to see if we could see through the crack of the curtain to the back adult section in the thing. And then we'd go over to the horror movies and be like, okay, which horror movie do you think has the most nudity? Because adolescent teens.
Yeah. No, we were just, I don't know, we watched like a variety of stuff. And most of the stuff we watched were like not, well, we were very into like Euro Trip, Road Trip, Harold and Kumar.
Yeah. And those weren't really bad movies. They were no. I mean, because comedies, those were not bad comedies. There are bad comedies.
Yeah. They were very much like the 90s comedy, like Romy and Michelle's high school reunion. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Dude, Where's My Car?
Dude,
That was
Where's
one
My
of our
Car?
favorites. Yeah.
Dude, what's mine say? Sweet. What's mine say? Dude, what's mine say? Sweet. What's mine say?
Oh gosh, and there was this Jimmy Fallon movie too where he was a veterinarian. And I remembered that one because he was a veterinarian, but he was pretending to be like an FBI agent or a cop. And he was watching this dog, and somehow he got a bunch of cocaine in the car, and the dog got into the cocaine and like went crazy. I don't remember. I have to look that
Oh,
see what
wow.
that was up.
I was gonna say there was one in that when I was a kid growing up. I loved it as a kid because it was so fucking ridiculous, and as an adult going back, I'm like, this movie is so dumb, and I still love it because it's Steve Martin, and it's called The Man with Two Brains, and there's literally like there's thing where becomes he's in a pinball machine and he's pinballing, but he's like running and like beep beep beep. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, speaking of Steve Martin, The Jerk was another one.
The Jerk, I loved The Jerk. I loved it.
You can ask Monkey Swag. I forced him to watch it because I told him, I'm like, oh, this is one of my favorite comedies.
I still love it.
It does not age well.
No. The best part is I don't need anything else. I just this lamp. Yeah. Nothing else. Well, this lamp and these shoes. These shoes and this lamp and nothing else. And that's all I need. Just these shoes and this lamp and this magazine. Yep. The shoes, the lamp, and the magazine. That's all I need. Nothing else. He does that like 5 more times.
Yeah. Yeah, we quote that all the time.
The new phone book's here. The new phone book's here. I'm somebody. Yeah, that's a classic. The fact that I haven't seen that in years and I still remember all those lines, Steve Martin is an icon.
Yep. So these aren't full movies, but did you ever hear I call them the thumb movies?
Yes, with the little face on the...
Yes. That was also, like, I have the full set of all the ones that he did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
I didn't even know that those came out. I thought that was just an internet thing.
No, like I have the DVDs and then the commentary and like, gosh, Thumb Wars, God Thumb. What was the other one? Franken Thumb is also like really good too. And then they also did the Blair Thumb Project. So basically what they did is they parodied a bunch of movies into like a 30-minute movie, and it's just people's thumbs and like their chins upside down.
Yeah.
So like I
forgot about the upside down chins. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Jabba the Hutt is just somebody's chin upside down. And then like their tongue and stuff.
That's freaking that's funny. I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's real dumb. One of our favorite characters was from Franken Thumb. There's like it's just this guy who's like this little girl's dad who keeps talking about how he's Italian and he has this bad accent and he just keeps saying like Mamma mia, pepperoni pizza, lasagna. And then his daughter's like, Dad, why do you keep saying like pasta references? And he's like, it's because we're Italiana.
What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on movies like Sharknado and Cocaine Bear?
Oh, I love Cocaine Bear.
I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to see Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear is like, it is exactly what it says, but it's actually, I shouldn't hype it up. It was better than what I expected it to be, but it is exactly what it says. But it does actually have some characterization of some of the characters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like there are like a little story surrounding the different characters, but that's also probably in my top 10 movies.
The Taking of Pelham 123 is also one of our favorite bad movies.
Yeah.
What is that?
I remember me and Monkey Swag went and saw it, and we made a lot of jokes about that one too.
Denzel Washington and John Travolta?
Yeah, it's not good though. Yeah, I hated it. Oh, he liked it. I hated it.
Okay. I'm trying to think
I think
of a
that's
movie.
why I don't remember it.
Oh.
I also hated Avatar, not the last air. Well, the last Airbender was meh, but the actual like the blue people Avatar.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan.
No, I'm like that's.
It was visually stunning. Story-wise,
That's
it was.
Story-wise, it was like 6 different movies put in the one, and even some of like the character. Like they ripped off so many movies, and I was like.
Well, it's hard to do these days. Not rip off other movies. They're all, the same.
I know, but I'm like, you could just be a little less blatant about it.
Yeah.
That's probably why I like some of like the weird stuff. Is because
different.
It's different and unique. Another old movie that I like is so it's an Ed Wood movie. And Ed Wood is like notorious for being like one of the worst directors in Hollywood.
Right.
And his movie is called Plan 9 from Outer Space. And it's old. It's 1957.
Okay.
But it's one of those movies where it was intended. It's bad because he thought it was like this brilliant art. He thought it was good, but it's just like so crappily done that it's. And then the story is just weird. So it has like zombies and aliens in it. And like it has Bela Lugosi, who's famous for playing Dracula.
Yeah.
In it. And so like there's him as a vampire in it.
What was the name of the movie?
Plan 9 from Outer Space. And like I couldn't tell you what the plot is. Like basically aliens are coming to Earth and then there's zombies and vampires.
Okay. I wanted to get the link for everybody.
There's this famous scene where he hired like a wrestler who eventually like he's I think a cop in the movie and then he dies and then he comes back to life.
Okay.
And they had like these graves and these cardboard tombstones and the wrestler is like a big guy.
Right.
And he got stuck in the grave when he was coming out. And he's like crawling out and you can see like the cardboard tombstones like shaking and like falling over. And he eventually like crawls out and like Ed Wood, they were like, oh, we need to retake this. And he's like, no, it's perfect. Keep it in there. So it's like it has all these different things of like stuff that's like screw ups in the movie. And he's like, no, this is brilliant. We're keeping it in there. And so like he thought it was so good, but it was bad.
Speaking of bad movies with wrestlers in it, how can we not talk about They Live?
They Live.
Have you seen They Live? With Roddy Piper, where like you have to have the glasses on, and they're just sunglasses, but with the glasses on, you can see all the aliens.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, it is so horrible. It's an 80s movie where it's like, and Roddy Piper is the main character. And it's where the phrase, I've come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Oh, yeah.
That's where that line comes from. It comes from that movie.
Okay.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Oh, gosh.
And yeah, and like you look at a thing and it's like everything he puts the glasses on and everything becomes black and white and you can see like if it's a bank, it says, instead of saying Bank of America or whatever, it just says, it's all gray and it just says the word spend. And so it's always these things of like, there's commands. So you see them and it's like, consume. So you see like a McDonald's and a Burger King and it just says consume. And it's just this really weird fucking stupid movie, but it's great. Yeah. Anyone going to talk about The Room? I don't think I know The Room.
Oh. So I'll be on. I haven't seen the original Room. That's on my list to watch.
Oh, I
James
see a bunch of them on the
Franco.
list here.
Yeah. So the guy, I'm trying to remember the guy that wrote it. This was another one where like this guy spent a ton of money. Yeah, Tommy Wiseau.
Okay, so it's the 2003 version.
Well, let's see.
That's the one with Tommy Wiseau in it.
It's 2003 version.
Yep.
And if you just like, I haven't seen the full movie back to back, but like just like the clips of it, it's just his acting. It's just bizarre. And again, he was like another guy that was like, "Oh, okay, we're just gonna take one take of this, and then move forward."
And it's just gonna be bad.
Yeah. And he thought he was like another person that thought he was really great.
But wasn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
But he's the one where if you ever heard of like the phrase, "You're tearing me apart, Lisa."
That's what that's from?
Yeah.
Okay. I have heard that. I
Yeah.
never knew where it was from, and I was like, I never had context for it. So I'm like, what? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but now I get that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of post-apocalyptic or futuristic movies too that are like were in the 80s and 90s that were really bad. And like I can't say like Escape from LA was bad, but it was good. You know, the CGI in there was just fucking ridiculous, and there's just, you know, but that's Escape from LA. Escape from New York was the same way, but they were good movies, but they're cult classics. So like I want to mention them, but at the same time it's like, well, do they really fit? Because a lot of people like those movies. They're cult classics for a reason.
Right. Yeah, I've also looked back on like a lot of the cartoons that we saw as kids.
Oh my god.
And then you rewatch as adults and you're like, why did they put this in a children's cartoon? Like there was one, I think it's like the Forest of Nymph or something.
Yeah.
And it's about little forest animals that are trying to save their home from being destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one scene, and I remember watching it as a kid, where this girl comes back to their tree, her family's home, which is in a tree. That went by really quick.
It did. We didn't have a lot of people like throwing out their movies in there either.
No.
Only a couple.
But
nobody wants to admit to their bad movies obsessions.
Right.
Everybody's got them. Don't lie.
So she comes back to her family's like tree, and like there's like this green gas in there, and then like it shows like all these little like animals like laying down. And like I remember thinking about it as a kid, like, oh, they're sleeping or they're passed out. No, they were gassed because they were exterminated, and like what we're seeing is her dead family just all across their home because they were gassed alive.
Wow.
And I'm like, why? Like, there's one thing about like Littlefoot's like mom dying or Mufasa dying, but like seeing like her little siblings like gassed in their bed.
Right? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Rockheim says, Chud, look the movie up if you dare. Chud had 2 sequels. There was Chud 2 and then like The Revenge of Chud or The Return of Chud or Chud Returns. And it's an acronym. It's like C period H period U period D period. I'm trying to pull it up right now so I can get the IMDb. A bizarre series of sudden disappearances on this New York City seems to point towards something unsavory living in the sewers.
Tremors was another movie.
What was?
Tremors was a
Tremors? Oh, Tremors? Yeah.
Like 1, 2, and 3. That was another movie. I wasn't actually allowed to watch that movie as a kid.
Oh, really? Yeah, and I don't think that they were.
To my friend's house.
I didn't really love those movies, but I also don't think they should be considered bad movies. I mean, they weren't the best, but they had 3. They had 3 sequels, and they were in like in like worldwide theaters, blockbuster theaters, and they had Kevin Bacon. Oh, that shouldn't be a piece that matters for that. That's or like, what about the Toxic Avenger and Garbage Pail Kids? There's two movies that are bad but good. That people like, not good but bad, but they like.
I feel like I've heard of Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah, they made the Garbage Pail Kids movie based on the, because it had the cards that came out.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day. Maybe see now I'm dating myself.
Yeah.
You thought you were bad.
Yeah, I also remember seeing, and I think it's like Return of Snow White or something, but there was a Snow White movie that was kind of a Snow White horror movie.
Oh.
Where there's a scene where the queen has a room full of different women's heads, and she takes off her heads and she like switches heads around when she wants a new look instead of like doing her makeup or whatever.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, it was like, and that was again another kids movie that I remember watching as a kid.
Wow.
And all the heads are like active when you come into the room, like their eyes are like watching the people moving. Was that Oz? I just remember it, like I don't remember anything else besides the movie, besides just going into the room full of heads.
Yeah, I remember Return to Oz.
Maybe
yeah,
that's
Return of Oz, where and like it was like the Tin Man was like quite different, but there was like another cast of like unique whatever friends that were there. So like it wasn't the Tin Man, but there was like there was Scarecrow was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Return to Oz. I liked Return to Oz, but it was freaking terrifying.
Yeah, the only thing I just remember the scene where they go into the room and like there's all the heads there.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I'll have to watch that one again. That's one of the ones that I should watch. But yeah, that movie, Scarecrow in that one was scary.
Yeah.
There's like 12 to 13 books in the Oz series. Yeah, read them. But there's plenty of movies now. Like they just keep pumping them out. They just keep pumping them out.
Yeah.
My mind went to a thing about a sequel that was like, maybe that was it. Maybe that's what I was thinking, was how there was a sequel to Oz, and that's like it didn't really connect really well to the first one.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that where they make a sequel and it's like, I'm not going to mention Highlander 2, but mention Highlander 2. No, we're really space aliens. We're not immortal. We're from another world.
Oh gosh.
What the fucking so horrible. But I love it. I love it. Speaking of movies that are horrible that we love.
Yeah, Highlander. I like the show Highlander.
I love the show. I'm very curious on what they're going to do with this new movie.
I didn't realize they were having a new movie.
So there's been a new movie in the works for like 10 years. And first it was supposed to be the guy that played Thomas Jane was going to be the new guy. It was like, everybody's like, oh, it's going to be him. He's going to be the new Highlander. It's all confirmed. We've got a director, whatever. And then like 3 years went by and nobody heard anything. And they're like, oh, and then it was like a couple of years later, it's like, oh, Ryan Reynolds is going to be playing the Highlander. He's the new Highlander. We've got the new movie. We have the director, yada, 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 yada. And then nothing. Didn't happen. Nothing happened, whatever. And now it's Henry Cavill is going to be the new Highlander. And they've got a director and a story. And apparently it's been greenlit and they start filming in a couple months.
Henry Cavill I could see in the role. Ryan Reynolds.
Right?
That's like Chris Pratt as Mario all over again.
Yeah, true. I'm torn because I'm a huge Highlander fan, always have been. And so will they do it justice? Will they treat the canon, or are they going to try and put their own spin on it? Are they going to try and just remake the first movie? Are they just going to tell their own story? Are they going to leave it open-ended at the end so they can have sequels? Like, how are they going to do it? Is it still good? Like, which character are they making a whole new McLeod? Or are they going to have him be one of the ones that already exists? Are they going to scrap it and just give him a completely different name?
Yeah. Basically, what are they going to do? Well,
Right.
did you see? I did not see it. And I don't think it did very well, but I did not see the new Crow. And I know you were very into the old one.
Yeah, I am torn because it's like, don't remake The Princess Bride, and yet now they're making a sequel. But don't remake I think it's The Princess Bride. Nope, there's another one. There's another movie they're making a sequel to. I don't remember what it was. But at any rate, don't make another Princess Bride. And I was the same way. Like, you don't need to remake The Crow. Like, you've already done it 3 times, and none of them really were as good as the first one.
Right.
And then I saw the cast, and I was like, I'm not interested in the cast. And then I saw the trailer, and I went, God damn it, I really want to hate this movie, but the trailer looks so good that I have to see it. And I didn't know it was out already. So I'll have to go watch it.
Yeah, I think it's already like available either for streaming or on video. It's not in theaters anymore.
Oh man.
I don't think. Cause maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it came out in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to watch it if it's out now on one of the people. Find out where I can stream it. All the places. I have a lot of subscriptions, so it should be on one of them.
Yeah. The main actor is Zion's right. The main actor is good. Now this is a movie that Andrew hates, but we went and saw Nosferatu, and he plays Count Orlok, who's Count Nosferatu.
Goonies.
And that's
Goonies sequel they're making.
Oh.
Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be another one I wouldn't necessarily touch.
Right, like you don't need to make a like I get the idea that like one of the characters, it's his kids or something, or like he has kids and then they find out something's going on and they get the old crew together or something. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah, no.
Hemlock Grove. Yeah, Hemlock Grove was really good. I liked Hemlock Grove. Did you watch Hemlock Grove?
I think I've watched like a couple episodes. That's a series, right?
Yeah, it's a series, and I don't remember what channel it was on. If it was like an HBO or something like that, and I think eventually it went to Netflix.
Yeah, I think it was a Sci-Fi channel.
Maybe.
Though I used to watch with my coworkers until they killed a cat in the series, and then I was done with it. The Magicians.
Oh, I haven't watched that one.
It's pretty terrible. like it's kind of it's fun to watch if you watch with other people, and I think it gets better. Like that's what I've heard. But like the main character of the story, oh my gosh. There's better characters in the story, but the main character you just want to punch in the face. Because he's just so unlikable.
Okay. And I always get that, because that's based off a book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's based off a book series. I heard that the book series is better than the sci-fi show, and that the sci-fi show gets better.
I believe Curly Girl really liked the books, but wasn't a big. I think she was. She'll have to confirm. She's in chat whether or not she liked the show or not.
Yeah, the show was just like it was
no
so
big capital
ridiculous.
letters. No.
Yeah. It was very ridiculous at times, which was pretty funny. And then they had a lot of trigger warning stuff that you weren't really prepared for.
Whiny man boy.
He is. It was just like, and it was kind of part of the fun with me and my one coworker watching it, because we would just get together and talk about how much we hated this guy. And then like he also has a best friend in the movie too, which we hated her as well, because she was jealous that she wasn't special enough to get into a magic school that she didn't even know about.
We do have friends who really liked it. Okay. Janai says, yeah, Q was not the best.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, if you would be able to last through like the first 3 seasons, and I think getting to the end is better from what I've heard. But they killed the cat and then I was done.
Fair enough. Poor
like,
cat.
That's where...
Poor cat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, you could kill people, change them into toads or whatever, be annoying, but the minute you kill a cat, I'm out.
Is there a movie that you'd like to see them either make a sequel or do a remake?
John Wick with cats. I actually did not watch the John Wick movies because of knowing that there's an animal death in that too. That's kind of my trigger.
Yeah. I haven't watched it either, but that's mostly just because I'm really bad at keeping up with movies, which is strange considering how much I used to watch movies. Like, I was a big cinephile, watch all the movies, all of them.
Yeah.
I've all of them, and now I'm like...
I know. Yeah. That's what my part, too, is like... I don't know. We watch a lot of series, and right now I'm into a lot, like, watching anime. So I guess, like... I'm trying to think. I don't know if there is a movie that I'd necessarily want to see a sequel of. I guess I would like to see... Oh yeah, we could do a Mystery Science Theater.
Oh man. I don't know if we could do it on... We'd have to find stuff that is like okay to stream.
Yeah.
And do that. And do a mystery. And I feel like that would have to be like... I'd have to get somebody to come to my house and sit in front of the green screen and do it with me.
Yeah.
So that there's that, because like on Zoom or whatever we use, I don't think would be the same.
Still, that'd be kind of fun.
But it could be fun, yeah.
I suppose if you watch something that was on YouTube already.
I think I wonder if it would have to be that as Amazon, where you play something on Amazon and then they watch it with you or something.
Yeah.
Or if it's something that doesn't have like it's out of date copyright sort of situation.
Yep.
Might have to be. I know somebody who's a big fan of Mystery Science Theater, and maybe he would be able to tell me like what the rules were and why they were able to do that with some and not with others.
Yeah, Monkey Swag and I used to watch Mystery Science Theater, and my favorite one was Hobgoblins.
I've only seen a couple of them. I loved the concept. I just never had time to really get a chance to get into it super much. But I loved the concept because I think it was hilarious.
I don't... This isn't a sequel, but I would like to see... Which they kind of do have them on YouTube. But I used to read fan fiction, and there's like the worst fan fiction ever written called My Immortal.
Okay.
I would like to see like an actual like live action rendition of the My Immortal fan fiction.
Okay.
Which I think they have one done like on YouTube, but it's not super well done. What it is, it's a Harry Potter fan fiction.
Okay. Uh-oh.
And it's
Do I want to know where this goes?
It's so bad. Like the first when this person like writes it out, she like has this whole line of like commentary beforehand, and then like half the scenes is just like her like describing her character's outfit, and she's like, "My name is Ebony Darkness Ravenway. I'm a vampire. I'm super goth and I hate preps." And then like she renames like a bunch of the characters, like Harry Potter is renamed Vampire.
Okay.
And like she goes out to a Good Charlotte concert with Draco Malfoy. And she has like a love triangle between her vampire and Draco Malfoy.
Oh my god.
And every time she writes Dumbledore, she spells his name wrong, and so she keeps calling him like Dumbledore.
So it'd be kind of like a comedy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And they did one already, or was that like a show that they did that somebody did? Like
No,
like
I
a
think
web
it was
series?
just like a fan
Okay.
web series. Like if you look up My Immortal fan fiction, there's dramatic readings on YouTube of it and voiceovers because it's just so bizarrely dumb. And then like this is back in the day of like LiveJournal, so
Yeah.
like she'd post a chapter and then people would comment about like how bad it was, and then like before the next chapter, it would be like her yelling at her commenters, being like, "Listen, you stupid preps," and like just like in all caps, and like spelling errors and like grammar is just like out the window. So maybe it wouldn't translate well in person, and maybe it would be a good like cartoon
Yeah,
to be able to have that commentary.
that's funny.
Yeah.
You know, it just popped in my brain. You mentioned cartoon, and I forgot that they made a Highlander anime. They made a Highlander anime.
Oh.
And like, so they had a cartoon series for kids.
Yeah.
And that character's name was like Quentin McLeod or something like that. It was just another McLeod. But they had an anime movie, and it was like post-apocalyptic Highlander. So like he was an immortal, and it was post-apocalyptic. So there were like your classic anime monsters and shit also existed.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool because he'd like get into a fight with a monster and like with his sword, and he'd like cut off its arm, and you know the anime blood would go spraying and stuff. And I was like, and that was pretty fun. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I have the anime. The cartoon series you were talking about is something different. Yeah, there's two different ones. There's an anime, and then there's like a kids cartoon series of Highlander. And then instead of like, it's a kids show, so like you're not cutting off your head. You had to steal their sword to get their power.
Oh, okay.
Like you take you steal their sword to take their quickening. And it's like, well, no, you cut off their fucking head. Get it right? Cartoon series for kids.
It's like if you can gas a little animal family.
If you can gas a little animal family, you can do it. If you can kill Optimus Prime off, you can cut off someone's head. I'm sorry.
I don't remember. I don't know. There was a cartoon that I really loved as a kid, and it was, I don't even remember. It was like, it was all these different characters that lived inside a computer, and it was kind of like Tron-esque.
Okay.
And it was like this 3D animation, which was cool at the time. Now, if you look back at it,
It was probably really bad.
Yeah. And there was this character, Bob, who like sacrificed himself in the end. And I just remember it was like so heartbreaking to me because he was my favorite character.
Design says hack slash.
It might have been Reboot.
Reboot?
Now I'm going to Google it.
Google. Google is your friend, everyone. So says the internet, I guess.
Cartoon.
Look it up. Write it down, motherfucker.
Yep, it was Reboot.
Okay.
1994 cartoon series.
There we go.
So I would like to see them redo that because I remember that being a good cartoon series as a kid.
Okay. Reboot.
In regards to anime, yeah, it was weird, but I like weird stuff.
There was a show called Reboot, but that's not it. Had Johnny Knoxville in it and Michael Keegan. Reboot, Michael. Was it a TV series or a single?
It was a cartoon.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see. Oh wow. I'm seeing the 3D.
The graphics.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, it was really bad 3D. But again, I had 5 channels.
Yeah.
On a TV that I had to stand up to like flick the dial. So for me, I was like, this is great.
Thank you for that, Matt. I was just going to do that. He's got it. There's the IMDb.
Yeah, an actual dial.
An actual dial where you like click, 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 click. I had that, but that was the TV that I had in my room to play Nintendo on.
Oh, that was our main TV, and then the rabbit ears.
Oh gosh.
We're kind of behind.
Let's stop dating ourselves here. When they told you don't touch that dial, you couldn't change the channel on your main TV. Yeah. Don't touch that dial.
Yep, the main city was called Mainframe.
I was my dad's remote. You might, yeah, I think you still are, right? Rock, I'm going to turn that TV up for me, would you?
Yeah.
Go change the channel to the news.
Current anime that I love right now is Dan to Dan, and it's on Netflix. It is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. If you can get through the first episode, it's a great series, I think.
If you can get through the first episode. There's another one. There's another show that was like that. Dan to Dan. There you go, Monkey Spike. Thank you. Such a weird show. There's another show where I've been told that. It's a, Zion and Janai will know what I'm talking about, where they're vampires. And they're like, it's... Me and they, like, we were suggested it a handful of times, and we struggled through the very first episode because we're like, this is so dumb. This is
What
so
We Do in the Shadows?
Yes! Yes!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So bad. But I was told, somebody else told me to go watch the movies, the original movies first, and then the series. I think one of my guests, one of the podcast guests that I had on, we talked afterwards, and they're like, go and watch the movie first, and then watch the series, and it's a lot better. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Which I haven't yet.
The movie's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so bad and then so great. So that would have covered our last topic. I mean, we're in potluck now, so it doesn't matter, but
yeah.
Movies that are bad that people think are great.
And the show The Energy Vampire, Colin Robinson.
Yeah.
He's probably my favorite character. And there's like
I low-key did like that. I thought that character was funny when he just walked into the room in the very first episode. Everyone's like, "Oh, that bastard! Get out of here!"
Yep. Yeah. There's one where he gets a job at an office, and he's like, yeah, he's like, it's great being here. I just stand at the water cooler and then like tell everybody really boring stories. And he's like, he's the person in the meeting that's like, can we go over this again? Or I'd like to spend another 5 minutes talking about this.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then when he's on the internet, he's trolling people for multiple reactions and then sucking energy from the internet.
Fun fact on the movie, they stole items from The Hobbit and used them / sold them to pay for the movie. Oh my god. Oh, that's great. I might have to give it another shot. Maybe it'll just be one of those put it on in the background sort of things. I don't think Curly Girl will give it a second shot, but I'll give it a second shot.
Yeah.
And see.
Movie is better.
Okay. So start with the movie, and then we can move to the.
Yeah. And then there's
looking back, like in the moment, I was like, "This show is so dumb. I can't." But looking back at some of the characters, I'm like, those sound like characters I would like. That sounds like a show I would like.
Yeah.
Did that 2.5, 3 hours go by quickly for you? It almost always does.
Yeah, it did.
Like we just started.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. I felt like the first 45 minutes of Hype Train.
Right?
I was a little bit worried. I was like, okay, are we going to get through this?
Are we going to get, it's just the Hype Train forever. And guess what? There wasn't a second one triggered, so we don't have to worry.
Nope.
Dun, dun, dun. Or, oh, my button didn't work. Son of a gun. Oh, well. Yes, it did. Oh, there it is. There it comes. The delayed reaction. Is it going to play it twice now? Because I pushed the button a couple times when it didn't go.
Maybe.
Well, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
That was a lot of fun, and we were talking beforehand, and we were like, then today when we were going, or was it might have been yesterday, we were like, well, what about this subject, and what about that subject?
Yeah.
And next thing we know, we had like 30 more subjects. Like, well,
yeah.
If we don't talk about any of these, we know what we can talk about later down the road.
We can do the character development or character creation.
Yeah, character creation, yeah, that should definitely be one that we do, because you and I, we both have very unique and almost the same kind of concept of like what to do when you build a character, like the amount of depth of the character development. Like, make a first level character, and like we've got like sheets of notes and backstories and stuff, and everyone else is like, I just have the character sheet, I don't really know what it is, I just, I'm just gonna play this whatever. And we're like, here's their backstory, and then here's their family lineage back 3 generations, and or in the terms of like, some characters is like they're pretending that they have it, here's their fake lineage that they had,
Yeah.
in the terms of a specific character in 3.5.
Yeah.
Rockheim knows what I'm talking about.
I feel like I can guess.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, thank you so much for being here. Of course, everybody, if you're watching, you can join us on Wednesdays. RalanaHalo joins us for almost every Wednesday. This week we have Old School 3, but week after next, you'll be back for the I keep wanting to say either Claimer's Conquest or Stolen Souls, but it's the Stolen Conquest, the combined, the 2 worlds merged into one. It is the museum game with unique redeems specifically for the merger game. So I think we have 8 players in that, or 8 people in that thing. So definitely make sure to join us every Wednesday for tabletop role playing. You can find us there. Who are we going to raid out to? Do you have somebody you want to raid, or should I look for somebody?
Probably I don't know. Dungeon Scrollers is running.
Yeah, we can do Dungeon Scrollers. They're back on.
I'm like, that's the only person
We can raid the Dungeon Scrollers. For those of you that don't know what Dungeon Scrollers is, they're doing Isekai Realms. They are currently running. It's all authors and writers. 2 of the people have been on the podcast and are friends of the show. Got Rhiannon Held and Eric Scott DeBee are both playing. They have a handful of other people doing some tabletop role-playing. They always do tabletop role-playing over there. Earlier today, they were doing their ride-alongs where it wasn't role-playing. They were doing, you could sit there and ride along with Aaron Evans and B. Dave Walters, who we had on the podcast last week. If you haven't seen the interview with B. Dave Walters, go and check it out. It's everywhere you can find podcasts. We're going to raid on out tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow at noon Central, I will be here live streaming Big Kitty Little City. No, Little Kitty Big City, where I'm going to be an irritating little kitten running around in the town trying to survive. I saw a clip of them like arguing with a raccoon, and the raccoon wanted like feathers for scraps of food or something like that. I don't know what it was. So it looks fun. It looks silly. It looks chill. So come and play tomorrow and join us, hang out for that. This is a follower or subscriber only. Yeah, I think it's a follower only chat where we are raiding on out. So we're going to raid out to our friends at Dungeon Scrollers. Give them support. Give them a follow. Hang out there if you like tabletop role playing. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the hype train. Thank you for the last spice train, as far as we know, forever. I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to figuring out what the next spice event is going to be. So as I always say, use your raid emotes, my raid emotes, anybody raid emotes. Just go ahead and make your voices known. Say hello in the chat. If you don't follow them, please give them a follow and give them the support as well. Thank you so much, guys. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.